So
Can you hear me?
yes, I can. Just to which server are you on? Are you on American or European?
No, I'm on Europe.
Okay, I'll send you a friend request momentarily.
Right. Do you have my body tag?
Yes, I do. Okay, and let me know if you got it.
Yeah, I got it. All right.
Hey, well then you can. No, you don't spectate through
Oh
any of
yeah,
the
yeah.
views.
We don't
Yeah,
need to angle. Yeah, right. So yeah, I'll just
I'm new
sharing.
queue, and then we should be fine.
Sorry, what was that? I don't hear you very well actually.
You can't hear me very well. You said.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Do you have me turned up on Discord?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, can you wait a second? I'll just switch to the desktop software instead of the web plans. Just a second.
All right.
That should be.
Can you hear me all right?
Oh yeah. So far so good.
All right. Well then, whenever you're ready.
Right. So yeah, I've started playing like tanks in general and specifically Zarya like maybe 2 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah, last season I was around 2500 SR, something like that. Yeah, I feel like I do lots of mistakes. That's it.
All right. Well then, let me know when. Okay, you're in a game now. I'm gonna spectate.
Oh yeah.
So
Traveling to
yeah,
Dorado.
I might not talk for the
Prepare the
first like
defenses.
minute of this game, kind of while I'm evaluating,
Select
looking
your
for things to
hero.
go over. Besides that, I guess while we're waiting for the game to start, and my game just crashed. Okay, give me a second.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've had that only when I coach for some reason. It like my game will just go out when I press a certain combination of buttons. I think it has something to do with my push to talk. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm getting back on.
Yeah.
Traveling to Dorado.
System check initiated. Green across.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Careful out there. Enemy caught. Barrier damage.
Alright, so first thing I'm noticing that's really major is your bubble usage. So when you're bubbling, you need to make sure that people are actually shooting at them. Otherwise, you don't get value out of them. So
Yeah.
the first two bubbles that you used on yourself as well as on the Pharah, no one was shooting at them. The Pharah was really high in the sky. The Sigma was eating, not shooting. So you're not going to get any charge out of that. You're not going to get any value out of that. You want to make sure that you're bubbling damage so that you're both protecting and getting charge out of it.
Yeah, definitely. I know. It was just like out of stress, I guess.
Yep. Well, then if it's a stress thing, then you just have to kind of remember to slow down and think about it. You don't have to rush anything. You're not in Overwatch League, so take your time with your abilities, and then you'll overall be playing better and having more fun.
Alright. Ah,
Heroes never die.
should have saved it, but
Enemies over there.
Get in there.
I always had faith in you.
Alright, so one other thing I'm noticing is jumping. So jumping as a habit to have while you're just kind of walking around is not a good one. There's a few
Alright.
different reasons for that. Jumping makes it easier to get headshot. It messes up your aim. It makes it harder for you to aim, as well as you can't control your movements as well. If you're jumping around corners, if it basically you just can't stop yourself. So it's gonna, especially as you go higher and higher in ranked, people are gonna be tracking your jumping to hit your headshots, and it's gonna be a lot easier for them.
alright, got it. I mean, I'm trying to do the opposite thing. I'm trying to like make it harder for them to shoot me, but yeah, maybe it makes me predictable.
Yeah, if you're trying to make it harder, add in crouching. Jumping is basically, it doesn't help at all. It's counterproductive. Crouching is going to make your headshots more unpredictable than jumping can.
I will shield.
Alright, gotcha.
Bad guys.
Charging up.
Do something. Take control. I'm taking damage.
Barriers on you. Go.
Alright, when you're bubbling, make sure that you're bubbling high damage sources. So, if a Kree by himself is just shooting at you, that's not, unless you're using it to protect someone who's 1 HP, that's not going to get you a lot of charge, because the Kree can just easily not shoot at you, and then the Kree by himself isn't going to do a whole lot of damage to get you any charge. So you want to save it for big abilities that do a lot of damage. You want to save it for when a lot of people are shooting at the person.
Alright. That makes sense.
But basically, like 50% of Zarya's kit's gonna be getting bubbles off correctly.
Yeah. I imagine that.
So if you see that people are using abilities or ultimates such as Monkey Primal, if you bubble him there when you see that he's using it, he's probably gonna be a big target on the enemy team, or so, like a Genji Blade, for example, as well. So if
Yeah.
you bubble that, you kind of are predicting that they're going to be taking damage and abilities. So you're kind of, basically you're going to get a lot of value out of that because you predicted that they're going to get damage from it.
Yeah, got it.
Victory.
Yeah, sometimes I just like I use bubbles for dumb reasons, like out of stress or something like that, and then I don't have the bubble when Genji or Monkey
Play
are
the game.
like doing the ults.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when like you're coming to that realization about stress, it's basically all about managing your stress and making sure that that's not affecting your gameplay. So take deep breaths, make sure that you're kind of calm and collected, and you're thinking about your bubbles actively. Like I said before, you're not in Overwatch League, so you don't have major life effects if you miss your bubble. So don't stress about it. Make sure that you're aiming it and you're thinking about it, and then that'll overall be getting you're gonna be getting more bubbles off and more energy off of that.
Yeah.
And more energy means more damage, more kills, and more ult charge.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Second thing is I saw at least once in there that you had a missed bubble on someone you didn't mean to hit. Do you
Yeah.
have your... Oh, sorry. I'm just wondering if you're aware that there are sensitivities on that you can change?
No, like specific sensitivities for Zarya. No.
Yes. So okay. So if you go over to, if you go to all heroes in controls,
Yeah.
and then you scroll down the Zarya and you click that, underneath hero, you'll be able to see projected barrier sensitivity.
Yeah, I see it. It's
And
in
if-
100.
Yep. And if you lower that, then it's going to be more basically it's going to be more catered towards your crosshair rather than whoever's closest to you.
I'm not sure I get it, but
So right now, basically, if it's when it's at 100, I guess demonstrate this real quick in practice range. I'm gonna screen share. All right, so
Together, we are strong.
I'm on this. I want to find multiple bots. Bot's about to die. Okay, so if I put mine on 100, and I look at, and I'm aiming at this. Sorry, I'm trying to find a good example of it. But I'm aiming at this. Wait, sorry, I'm struggling to find like the angle, but that's interesting. Why isn't it?
The Rogers?
Basically, it's like kind of like So okay. So this is an example right here. So if I'm aiming at that bot back there, but it's on this bot here, that bot's gonna get the bubble even though it's aiming at that one because this bot was closer. And that happened when you aimed at the monkey, but the brig took it from you. But if you, the more you lower that, so it's gonna make it easier to hit a specific target in big groups of people. But if you lower it, I have it on like 50, then it's gonna be a lot easier to hit your specific target.
Alright, I'm going to try it. Yeah, I think I got it.
Alright, I'm gonna. Well, then whenever you're ready, we can hop into another match.
Yeah.
But so far, pretty good mechanics. Positioning wasn't really a thing I could go over there because you're kind of spawn camping. Bubble usage is the big thing last game, and just making sure not to jump. Make sure that you're using your bubbles when people are about to, like when you know people are about to take damage, and like high amounts of damage. Because if you're only bubbling small amounts of damage, so like an Ana shooting at you, or a Kree shooting at you, like that's not, they can just stop shooting at you. That's not high damage, so you don't get energy out of it, and it's not dangerous to anyone. So you don't actually get protective value out of the bubble either, because you kind of want to find a good balance between energy and using your abilities to actually tank. So you'll find a lot of the times that you use bubbles protectively, you actually get the most energy from them. So you kind of want to, once you're at a decent energy charge, so like once you're kind of above 60, maybe around that range, you should be specifically looking to use your bubbles for saving targets, like a Reinhardt's pinning someone, a Roadhog hooks someone, someone's about to die, that type of deal. And if you're using your bubbles that way, you're overall going to be getting more energy and more value out of them.
Welcome to Junkertown.
Yeah, alright, that makes sense.
This will heal you.
Time to roll up my sleeves.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attack commencing.
Alright, so right there, out of spawn, it's a good time to use bubble because you saw Dynamite on the floor and Orion was fire striking. That would have given you an instant like 40 charge.
Yeah, I definitely missed the dynamite.
Getting don't go back. Barriers just surrender to my will. I am the champion.
Alright, so personal bubble usage is something I'm noticing right now. So when to use your own bubble. How you should be playing is basically when you have your bubble available, you can play more aggressively because you have the get out of jail free card of being able to bubble and run back to your team. But when you don't have it available, your bubble's down, then you should be playing passively and behind shields because you don't have that get out of jail free card. So basically, when you don't have it, you play passive. When you do have it, you can play more aggressive. And a lot of the times I'm kind of seeing either or. You kind of, sometimes you'll use it and then go aggressive and then you have nothing to get out with. Sometimes you will play passive when you do have it and then you don't get value out of it. But that, if you're playing aggressive when you have your own personal bubble, that means that you're also going to be getting more energy from it too because there's more people looking at you.
Yeah.
Barrier activated.
Okay, so there, kind of need to, that's an example of where you want to be bubbling when you know that you're about to take damage. A good bubble would have been when the Rein was swinging on you. The bad bubble was when he stopped swinging on you. And then you didn't get value out of it.
Yeah, I really tried to like do it once it does the damage. Yeah, should have bubbled up.
Ready for battle.
What? Yeah, that was my mistake.
So, only thing there I would say, besides the fat finger, was the fact that you held on to 2 of your bubbles while you were at 0 energy for like, maybe like half of that fight, like 10 seconds, something like that. You don't want to be doing that. You don't, even if you're not getting maximum value out of them, you can't just hold on to bubbles for kind of an eternity. You kind of need to use them to actually get energy, because if you're at 0 energy, then you're not getting damage out and you're not getting value.
Right, yeah.
Ready for battle. I will allow none to stand in the way of progress.
The payload has reached the
Yeah, actually, I know a lot of what you're saying and trying to like implement it, like to get the most value out of my bubbles. Yeah, sometimes, yeah, it doesn't go that well in a game.
Yeah, knowledge doesn't always mean that you actually do it, so you just have to remember, like, try to work on implementing it.
Get in there. Maximum speed. Do something. Get in there, Bob. I see that. Go. Don't be shy. Hit me.
Alright, so there, we pushed
I
up.
wasted my bubble. Yeah.
I'd say we pushed up incredibly aggressively when we didn't have a shield. So that required us to use, like, basically we died because we pushed too aggressively. Our monkey wasn't making any space, and we kind of just walked forward. So we're not a main tank, and we can't play as if we're a main tank.
Yeah, I get it.
Surrender to my will.
So every time you die like that, so like basically 75% of the time you die, just kind of look at your deaths and go like, okay, why did I die, and what could I have done better? So if you look at your last death, then you can see, okay, well I wasn't in a very good position. So in the future, I won't stand in front of my entire team because I'm not a main tank.
Behind you. Payload is on its way. Here it comes. Give me your best shot.
Oh shit. Yeah, I did it again.
Alright, I think I'm gonna talk about some positioning, like generalized positioning after this game. One other thing is that we've been holding on to grab for almost coming up on like 2 minutes now. That means that we've basically forfeited an entire other grab because of the amount of time that we've taken to use this one. So even if you're not getting 6 people in a grab, because you can get 3 people in a grab and still win a fight. Even if you're not getting 6 people, it's still worth using it, because if you don't, then you're missing out on charge for other ones.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It also means that you're not baiting out abilities and ults on their side. So they're basically, they can use abilities and ults and you're not.
Yeah. I mean, again, I totally know it. I just like I'm a bit stressed because of our session as well.
Okay.
I guess. Yeah.
Primary objective. Move the payload. This will only hurt
Let me touch
my will.
Well then, like, if stress is kind of a reoccurring issue, I'd say kind of biggest thing to work on then is making sure that you're using your head and you're taking deep breaths. Make sure that you're not panicking. Like, kind of work on the panic.
Group up with me.
You want to make sure
Yeah.
that you're not rushing anything.
Yeah, I assume part of it is like the session itself.
Making sure the payload progress.
I guess I calm down in like another game or two. I'm definitely doing better, like most games. Getting much more damage and energy.
That should be better.
So there, when you bubble bomb, he was
Yeah,
sleeping, so there's,
yeah, it was
it's
it.
highly unlikely that he's gonna be taking any damage. So you didn't actually get value from that.
Yep.
I'm ready to start a blizzard.
Perseverance is the key.
You scared me.
Why's the payload stop?
Oh shit.
That tickles.
I'm ready to start a blizzard.
Past is forth.
To me.
Surrender to my will. Огонь по готовности. Crystal power. Just a scratch.
Alright, well, that was very close to losing with AC9.
Yeah.
I'd say the reason why you almost lost that was because you're sitting at 0 energy for basically an extended period of time, and that
Yeah,
shouldn't be
totally.
happening. You saw that like 2 of your teammates died there. If those bubbles were used to save those teammates, then your teammates aren't dying, and you're getting more energy than 0 out of it.
In the
So
last fight?
yeah, in the last fight, you were down like 2 people. So because of that, if you can look at that and go, okay, well, if I'd used my bubbles better and I'd been looking at my teammates to see, okay, who can I actually get energy off of, then you're both saving people and getting energy off of it so that you're not sitting at 0. But because the bubbles weren't used correctly, you both didn't bubble the people who died, and you also didn't get like any value until you like very end of the fight when you're up at like 70 energy.
Yeah. So yeah, I get it. Just saying, like most games, I get much more energy. I'm like in quick play, I usually 60% ever. It was just like a really bad game, but yeah, I mean, I totally get it.
Alright, I'm gonna go over some things in training real quick.
Right.
So first off is crosshair placement. So something that you don't want to be doing is walking around looking at the floor like this. And the reason why is two reasons. One, it doesn't really apply to Zarya as much. But the second one is because you have a lowered visibility. When you're looking at the floor, you can't see people as well on high ground. So like if I'm looking like this in comparison to like this, I can now see that my friendly bot on the high ground. Whereas before, if I'm looking at the floor, I can't see that. So that's very important for visibility and awareness. The second thing isn't gonna, like I said before, isn't as applicable to Zarya, but that's like headshots. If you're aiming at head level continuously, then on other heroes, you're gonna be able to hit headshots easier than if you're aiming down and you're having to go up and to the right or up and to the left. So that's a big thing. Second thing is making sure that you're looking, that you're kind of, for crosshair placement, you're predicting where people will be. So if you know that there's people in the doorways, you hear them, you're looking at the doorways instead of kind of looking off in the Narnia. Like you want to be looking at the head level in the doorways, or just at the doorways since you don't have to actually hit heads. And then another aspect to that is when you're walking up, I know the bot's on the left, so instead of kind of walking out here and then turning, we want to be walking out and turning with our crosshair, so that we're actually seeing them faster and acquiring the target faster. That's not the main thing I wanted to talk about, but that's just something. Next thing is positioning. So what is good positioning, what's bad positioning? So if we're looking at an example, like I'm standing here and this bot is, and let's say there's like their entire team's there, or there's just like this one bot here and I'm low health. This is bad positioning because where's the nearest cover? I have to go like 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds to get behind cover. So if this bot has any game sense at all, like if this person has any game sense, then I'm dead. So that's just, you always want to be next to cover. Like another good example of this, I can't boost. Alright, so another good example of this is, let's say there's that bot down in there, the enemy, that's like a Widowmaker or a high nooning McCree. If I'm standing right here, and they start high nooning, or the Widowmaker decides to start shooting at me, it takes me, okay, 1, 2 seconds to get behind this cover, whereas if I'm standing right here, I get the same visibility, but it takes me half a second to get behind cover at a moment's notice. So you always want to be standing behind, or standing next to cover so that you can get behind it. And a good tool you can use is the High Nooning McCree tool. Is if every enemy on their team was an enemy, was a High Nooning McCree, would you survive? And the answer is, okay, am I next to cover? Because even if you have shields, you need to be next to cover, because shields can break and shields can go down and shields can move. So you need to be behind cover at all times. Another good example is on the high ground here. If I'm standing right here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, like almost 5 bots have visibility on me. So if everyone was high nooning, I'd be dead. Like I can't duck far enough behind here to get them. But if I'm instead over here, and there's one bot now, because I'm using both this wall and I'm backing up to this cover, there's only one bot that can see me, so I'm then killing this bot. And if they start high nooning, then I back up. Or they start using abilities, I can back up. So you kind of want to use cover to your advantage so that you're not taking needless damage.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Alright, you can go ahead and start another game.
Yeah.
Alright, while you're in a queue, I'm going to go grab water real quick. Unless, yeah, do you have any questions or anything?
No, it's okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, stay queuing. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and play Zarya even though we don't have a shield. That's probably a bad idea, but
Welcome to Paris.
This place is a bit.
Alright, well, basically, when the game's starting, you want to look at your composition and enemy composition. That's going to dictate how you play, because it's going to change your play style. So because you know that you don't have a shield, you need to play more passive, so you can't main tank. Like, for example, when you had your Sigma, or Monkey on last point, or last match, because again, you don't have a main tank sitting in, like, kind of the front line, you can't act as a main tank and sit in the front line, because then you just get steamrolled. You need to play passively, kind of like a DPS. You're playing on the sidelines and trying to get damage in. So same thing as when you have your Hog, you need to be playing passive and looking for damage.
yeah, that makes sense.
This will heal you. I will shield you. Barrier activated. Charging up. Get in there.
Remember jumping.
Yeah.
That all is gone.
An expedient solution.
Ready for battle.
Okay, so when we know that we have a Moira there with us, and you're going up against like an Ashe, you need to be looking an Ashana. You need to be looking for the at her health and for bubbles on her.
Yeah.
Just making sure. Do you have allied health bars enabled?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Okay, so before that monkey started booping you around, you almost walked back out into the point with 100 health. Just don't rush it. Heal up before you go out. There's no reason to be risking death when you have your healers right next to you to contest point, because you had people out there, and even if it comes to it, just give them ticks. You don't need to sacrifice yourself to stop them from getting a tick.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so there, instead of running back to our team, which we had like 3 people there with us, we ran into enemies and we died and we didn't have bubble. So there, instead of running away, we run towards.
60 seconds remaining.
Yeah.
So because you have basically whenever you're like 80% on grab or higher, your goal is to get grab and look for situations to use grab. You shouldn't be going like 2 fights without you having used grab.
30 seconds.
It like basically
Yeah,
your
yeah.
number 1 priority is getting the grab off.
Yeah.
Objective.
I would have used it now, but my whole team was dead.
New
Yeah, I get it.
objective.
Practice makes perfect. A touch from afar. Go. Is that all you've got? This will heal me.
I'm taking damage.
Barrier combo back. I'm
So
warmed up.
unless you're using right click at long ranges or using it to burst down a target, you shouldn't be right clicking to just do regular damage because you're wasting ammo and left click will just do more consistent damage. So what you want to use right click for is if someone's too far away to left click, or you're using it to get the finishing like burst damage on them because it's gonna be a higher burst than left click is.
Surrender to my will.
And if they're close to you, you can even add in a melee for the right click melee, and it'll do kind of like an instant 60 damage.
So you're saying like when they're close to me, mostly do like left click?
Yes, when they're close to you, left click until you see that they're like 1 health, and then you go for a right click, and if they're super close to you, you can melee.
Yeah, got it.
And that's gonna help you secure kills faster, and then that way they can't get healing as fast, and they're just gonna overall be getting more kills because they can't get healing before you actually kill them.
Yeah, alright.
Like
Makes
time to kill basically is really important because, like I said before, if you're not killing them fast, then they have time to get back to their team, they have time to get away.
60 seconds remaining.
Yeah, got it.
Now, is this the same grab as before, or is this the second one
Yeah.
that we charged up?
No, it's the same one.
Okay, so that's the thing. Like we don't want to go 8 minutes without having used a Graviton, because in that time we could have gotten maybe, if we're at high energy and we're putting damage in, we could have gotten maybe 4 grabs,
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
that's faster team fights one that you could have
Destruction.
basically been doing more.
Realize that failure is all you need.
Yeah.
Barriers on you. I'm going for the goal with you.
Do something.
Do you typically talk in team chat at all when you're in playing comp?
Yeah, I do. Like, but not in quick play.
Alright, yeah,
Mostly
that's fine.
competitive.
So kind
Yeah.
of, whenever you have Grav, make sure that you're looking for combos with your team. So, for example, like Doomfist would be the #1 combo on your team right now. So you'd look to combo Grav with his ult, or some other combos can be if you're running a ball like you have right now. Ball can roll through and just mine inside of it. Tracer can run through and pulse it. You just want to make sure that you're comboing it with something so that you actually damage them fast enough to kill them before they get out.
Yeah, in competitive, I mostly do it like with
Play of the game.
Genji or Pharah or something like that, or Hanzo.
I probably wouldn't do it with Genji, because Genji, basically, you want to do it with heroes. If you have like the option to do it with like multiple different people, you want to do it with the heroes that can get off ultimates well on their own. So that's gonna be like, so if you're comboing with like Pharah doesn't, like, it's very hard for her to get value out of Barrage on her own without comboing it with anything. So if you're, that's why you would combo it with Pharah. Same thing with a Hanzo Dragon. Hanzo Dragon can't very easily get a 6k on its own. So you're comboing it with your ability. But Genji Blade, if you're nanoing him, he can very easily, if he's skilled enough, get a 6k on his own without having to combo with a grab. So if you have,
definitely.
so if you're presented with the option, try to do it for the ultimates that are hardest to actually accomplish and get team wipes with.
Yeah, so Pharah and Doomfist and Hanzo.
Yep.
Are the best options, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Another one.
Yep, we have I think 15 minutes left, so we can probably get through another one.
Yeah.
So since we're kind of nearing the end, just if you have any questions, feel free to ask them about, I guess, the game in general, about Zarya, about anything we've talked about. Just ask away, and then that way we actually have some time to do that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, everything that you said was pretty clear. Like, I saved the graph for too long. I need to like get more value out of my bubbles. Yeah, I mean, I get it. It makes sense.
Okay, I'm spectating.
Traveling to Eichenwald.
Yeah.
What I don't understand. I press right click. I only press right click. I don't understand. What? My game crashed again. Okay, getting back on.
That's right.
And it only happens when I'm coaching. I don't understand what's up with that.
Yeah, maybe only when you're spectating. Maybe it's something with spectating.
Traveling to Eichenwald.
Now show them.
Observe the barrier. Oh, I see.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
Ow! Ow! Ow!
Wait, you're on the enemy team. Why am I spectating this team?
It reminds
I'm
me of
spectating the wrong team.
Ow!
That's weird.
Take your
So
man.
confused. Spectate.
Traveling to Eichenwald.
You seem
Okay.
You seem familiar.
Attackers incoming.
Did I killed you before?
Defend objective A.
I was like just going through the people and I couldn't see your name.
Yeah, can you find it?
It's like there. Right clicks into a diva, you're at range to left click, and left click goes through her E, and left click will just get more consistent damage without having to reload as fast. So left click is just the way to go unless you're bursting someone down or they're far away. There, I think you had bubble up. Make sure that you're looking for bubbles on your right.
I need healing.
Double
You
kill.
have to be
Smoke 'em out of there.
bad guys. Heads up.
Like kind of in the back of your head at all times, you should be thinking about bubbles on the teammates. Remember not to be staring at the ground. Diva's not really a target unless she's using her missiles that you want to be bubbling because she doesn't do a high enough damage output for it to be worth it. Especially on her own.
Yeah, I'm just trying to like get to shoot missiles at me.
Yeah, but if she sees that you're bubbling, she's less likely to shoot missiles. So it's not really a viable option to do. So instead you want to wait for the missiles to come and then bubble. There again, remember, right clicking should be to burst down, not to too consistent like damage on someone. So if they're not low, you left click.
Yeah.
That also means that you can swap targets easier.
I'm under attack. This is my game.
Good cover. Don't be shy.
Hit me. Get in position.
Oh.
So there, you have two bubbles. Make sure that you're looking at your teammates and thinking, okay, who's not gonna be able to make it out of the diva ult.
Yeah.
That way you can save your Ana. So again, like that bubble on the Reinhardt could have been used better because no one's really shooting at him. He's really far back. He's not gonna get a lot of value out of that. There you're main tanking. You're stepping in front of your entire team, in front of your Ryan, stepping into choke point, which allows them to all focus you down. So again, like if you're in your own game, look at that death and go, okay, what could I have done better? And then you're gonna be self-improving in no time. You basically just evaluate yourself and what I did wrong, and then you can get better as you go.
Yeah, that's good tip.
Get in there, Bob.
60 seconds remaining.
Is that all we've got? Check now. Walk the dog. I've passed this board. Give me a best shot.
When you bubble, step in front of Ryan's shield momentarily until the bubble goes down. Because you bubbled and then step behind your Ryan, and then the bubble didn't get charged from it.
Get in there.
Yeah, I know.
10 seconds remaining.
Put them out of their misery. The power of destruction.
Overtime.
Огонь по готовности. Surrender to my will.
Come here and get stabilized.
Right, good game. So that game went fast, so we have time for another one.
Yeah. Yeah, if I remember correctly, we have like another session that we can schedule for.
Yeah, we have another session. We can schedule that one after this one's over, if that's okay with you. Unless you
Yeah.
don't know your schedule coming up.
No, I mean, yeah, we can definitely do it. So yeah, I'll try to work on these things, and I hope I'll have like better games in the next one.
Yep. If you think that stress is a big issue, because we're coaching, what we can do is do a VOD review and go over a video that was already recorded. Would that be okay?
Yeah, maybe that's a good idea. You know, let me think about it.
Okay. Well, I'll get you some. I'll send you criteria real quick for that. Give me a second. And just go
Yeah.
ahead and hop into another game. Are you already in another game?
Oh yeah.
Alright.
Welcome to Paris. Prepare to attack.
Dang, these tank queues are fast.
Select your hero.
Yeah. That's why I'm playing tank.
Okay, so there's some criteria for your VODs if you end up choosing to do a VOD review.
Turning up the heat.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
Anna, they all thought you were dead.
Well, I had to come back. I was worried you'd get bored.
Yeah,
Not being
that makes sense.
with your nose in my business.
And then we just walk over those videos and yeah, basically do the same thing.
Yeah, we do, basically once you upload it to like YouTube or anything like that, then I'll stream myself on Discord, going over it. And if Discord's like pooping out like it did today, then I can stream it on Twitch.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, there, remember to watch your positioning. You walk straight in the middle of the choke, which against the Bastion is going to get you killed because you're not standing close enough to cover to get behind it.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're trying to stay in with your Reinhardt, because if he's going through, then that means that you should be going through too.
Yeah, I tried. It was just going forward, dying alone.
Good bubble and Mercy there.
Group up with me.
I thought I was about to
Yeah.
have to comment on it, but very good.
Healing stream engaged.
Give me your best shot.
Alright, so remember that when you're at like 80 charge, your goal should be to use bubbles defensively and when you actually need them, so like if you're pushing past choke. Using it to get from 80 to 100 energy isn't that insanely important. Especially when you need bubbles to get past choke or need bubbles to stop teammates from dying. That type of deal.
Yeah.
Bring it. Let's take over.
Remember at that range, you can right click melee for the burst damage. What did you use your bubble for when? Did you use it when walking through? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Alright.
Sterben nicht.
So the Bastion won't kill
I
me
am low.
when I was fighting Hanzo.
Yeah, so there, going right side might not be the best option because of, like, if you're looking at your comp versus their comp, you don't have shields and they do. So, going into close quarters combat might not be the smartest idea. You kind of want to take large angles around them. So, going to the left where you're at right now is going to be better.
Give me your best shot.
So, here again, remember we're finding ourselves in positions where we're not close to any cover.
Yeah.
So you can hug pillars, you can stay close to stuff. Oh.
I need healing.
Oh.
Yeah, we said they were a little too long. Remember to pay attention to health.
Objective A captured. Commence attack on objective B.
Ha! Nada mal. See you later.
Group up here. I claim this objective. Need healing.
Alright, so there, rather than sending me on statue, try to go underneath them. It's gonna be much better for survival and taking less damage. You can contest point for much longer from there.
Yeah. Damn it.
Join me.
She's dead.
Activated.
So like you can kind of see there how you're not gonna get any charge out of a Hanzo shooting at you because of the fact that he can just decide not to shoot at you. So if you're using bubbles for energy rather than to save yourself from someone who has like a skill shot ability, it's not gonna work out too well.
Yeah, that was more like a defense mechanism more than a way
I was just
to get around it.
I understand that. I was just kind of using it more as an example of when that's not good.
Give me your best shot.
Let's get you back.
Oh, I'll just go in.
So there are going to be situations where you hold on to grab, but I'm seeing that it's consistent throughout most of your games that you're holding on to it until maybe like the last fight. Grab should be used a little, like ultimates in general should be used consistently, because if you're not using them consistently, then you're not going to get value out of them. Because you're not going to get more ults, so therefore you're going to have less ults overall and less
Yeah.
team fight wins.
Definitely makes sense.
Barrier activated.
Name it.
EMP charge.
Okay, so we know that we have grab EMP. So that means that basically we're waiting on you to open up the fight.
Heroes never die. Forget Give me your best. Don't go back.
There, I think that's important, shouldn't you? Like, 2 of you instantly died.
Yeah. I should have done it when Farah had
Setback.
those.
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Also, kind of make sure that when you're grabbing, that like it should be like there were kind of a few other scenarios where grabs would have been perfect. So when they're all sitting in the corner, before that would have been perfect. You kind of there you used it when you only got 2 people in it, and that meant that your team wasn't able to clean up on it as efficiently. So
Yeah.
you want to land it in the feet of as many people as possible. And I think that might be a game. Alright, so that pretty
Yeah.
much wraps up our session. We can schedule our next session now, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, yeah. Do you mind